Hi, this is Tablet Store UK, and we're going to take a look at the Winslate 100, our 10-inch capacitive Windows tablet with a 1280 by 800 display and active digitizer included as standard. So we'll take a look around the outside first of all at the hardware, and then we'll take a little look at the software and particularly how the active digitizer solution is implemented. So, start by taking a look around the outside of the device. On the top edge of the tablet there is a small recessed reset button, the power button, which I'll press so we can turn the tablet on, and also a slider to deactivate the active digitizer. So if the active digitizer isn't going to be used and it's preferred to have it deactivated, that can be manually deactivated with a slide of that switch and the hardware is disabled, or it can be left on, which is probably how most people will use that. On the left edge of the tablet sort of opens up and is a little wider to accommodate the ports. So you've got, going from left to right, DC power in, HDMI out, two full-size USB ports, a wheel which offers a hardware up, down, and a press offers an enter function, so essentially like a keyboard. Two slots there, the lower one for micro SD, the upper one for SIM card. The SIM card slot is always there by default, but it's an option whether or not a 3G module is installed in the device. And last, along the right edge there is a headphone socket. The bottom edge is clean, there's nothing along the bottom edge, and the left edge a little thinner than the right, there's nothing on the left edge either. Coming over onto the back of the device, you can see in the centre the rear-facing webcam. And on the front of the device, in the centre at the top, we have a front-facing webcam, and at the top and bottom of the screen at the front edge here are the stereo speakers. I'll just show you those a little closer. And then at the top of the device you've got the usual array of indicator lights for battery, 3G, Wi-Fi status and power off and on. Also on the front face of the device there are two buttons here to the right of the screen. The top one will turn Wi-Fi on and off, so you've got a Wi-Fi switch that's disabled Wi-Fi, another press has turned it back on. The other switch is a Windows Start button, which becomes used a little more in Windows 8. Incidentally, this tablet is fully compatible with Windows 8. And finally, on the bottom right of the screen there, you have the fingerprint sensor. Just to show you, if we use hardware buttons to activate the start menu and then using the toggle, the wheel at the right, you see I can go up and down the start menu and press the wheel at the side there to effect an enter key press. So we'll take a look at the implementation of the active digitizer solution. What you get with the tablet is an active digitizer pen. Now that pen is powered by internal batteries. Rather than the batteries being a battery that you replace, the batteries are chargeable directly inside the pen. So you see on the back of the pen there a couple of metal contacts. You can just see them just there. And what you get with the tablet is a USB charger. So this basically is a charging caddy for the pen that you can charge off of any USB socket. And that simply works by inserting the pen into the charger there, and that's in position and we're charged. So that plugged into a USB port will keep the pen charged. Pen keeps charge quite well for a long period of time in any case, but it's a convenient way of keeping the charge topped up without having to worry about actually carrying spare batteries. So, just to show you how the active digitizer works, this is sometimes difficult without seeing it for yourself, seeing as we're dealing with usually a very small cursor under Windows. But once the pen is close to the screen, then you'll see, and without touching the screen, if I try from above you might just be able to see this, that the cursor is moving around the screen. So it's now acting like a mouse without clicking the screen, without touching the screen. Once it's within about 10 millimeters, then the screen is picking up the proximity of the pen. And when that happens, the capacitive layer is turned off. So critically, you get palm rejection, which is the key feature of having an active digitizer. So without the pen, you can use your finger in the normal way. So if I draw a window on the desktop, which you will be able to see, as soon as the pen comes into contact, then it breaks away from the finger contact. The capacitive layer is effectively disabled, and what I can't do is interfere with the position of the mouse cursor held by the pen. Ordinarily, the problem that you have with touch is that while you're writing with one hand, potentially with a stylus on a resistive screen, is that if your palm or any other part of you touches down on the screen in another area, then it confuses the screen. Whereas with an active digitizer solution, you're able to write comfortably without your finger being able to interfere what you're writing. So long as the pen doesn't leave the screen by more than a centimetre, then holding the finger on the screen and trying to interfere won't have any effect so long as the pen is in contact with the screen. Additionally, on the pen you do have a button on the side there, which also lights up to indicate that it has power. I believe the colour of the light changes when the battery power on that is low, as an indicator of low battery, and that button is basically a right mouse button, so you don't have to be touching the screen for that to work. A touch of the screen gives you a left click, but a single press of the button on the pen gives you a right click. So in most places in Windows that's going to give you a menu. To do that with touch, incidentally, you can either use a long press in Windows 7 and Windows 8 to get a menu, or if you have multi-touch you can press a second touch point, and that gives you a quicker access to a right mouse button than in fact a long press. The tablet is running an Intel Atom N2800 CPU at 1.8 GHz, a very high performing third generation Atom CPU using very little power. As standard in here we have 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage, with 4 GB of RAM with 64 GB storage is also available. Currently this device is running Windows 7 Professional. It is capable of running any version of Windows 7 and also any version of Windows 8. There is also compatibility with Windows XP. As always with our devices at Tablet Store UK, there is no bloatware on here, there is no additional software beyond the standard suite of tools provided with the Windows operating system, so there aren't any other programs installed on here by default. As standard on the device is Wi-Fi using the Intel N130 chipset, and Bluetooth is standard as well. Thanks for watching. For more information and pricing, head to tabletstoreuk.com.